YouTube, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am going to show you guys how to vacuum seal meat. I have some lovely venison backstrap that I will be using for the demonstration. I have a suction vacuum sealer and a chamber vacuum sealer. So I will show you how to vacuum seal using both of those, and I'll also be giving you some tips on how to keep your meat fresher for longer. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. So what are the benefits to vacuum sealing your meat? Vacuum sealing protects the food from air and water, and that means less risk of contamination. It also means keeping your food fresher for longer. And vacuum sealing becomes increasingly important when we're talking about raw meat, because raw meat will only stay good in your refrigerator for about 5 days, but when they're vacuum sealed, it'll stay good for up to 2 weeks. And the same goes for your freezer. Meat that is vacuum sealed will stay good for up to 2 years and potentially even longer. But hopefully you're eating all of your meat within 2 years of putting it in the freezer. But point is, vacuum sealing is important, but extra important for meat because it really will make it last a very long time. I'm a hunter, so I process an entire deer at one time. So I put a lot of meat in my freezer all at one time, and the vacuum sealer is great because it will keep it fresh for the next year or even 2 years if I needed it. This can also be super helpful if you like to buy food in bulk, you like to buy your meat in bulk. You can then portion it down into, the correct size for you and your family. What is the difference between a chamber vacuum sealer and a suction vacuum sealer? Well, like the name implies, the suction vacuum sealer suctions all of the air out of the bag. The chamber vacuum, on the other hand, creates a vacuum within the chamber, and that is what causes the air to be pulled out of the bag. Now, chamber vacuums are friendly for things like soups or stews or anything with a high moisture content. The chamber vacuum will not suck that liquid out like the suction vacuum will. It will keep all of the liquid in the bag. Now let's jump into how to vacuum seal meat. So I have an Axis deer backstrap that I cut into 2. This is one of my first tips when it comes to vacuum sealing your meat. Always portion it out in the size that you want to pull out and eat. So like for me, I'm just cooking for Nick and I. So one of these backstraps is enough for him and I for a dinner. And then if we ever want more, we can always just pull out multiple packages. So that's step 1, cut the meat to the appropriate sizes. You can also vacuum seal ground meat. Portion your ground meat out to the size that you want. Next step is to clean the meat, pat it dry. You want to make sure that it's very dry before going into the bags. Now, not all bags are created equal. The suction vacuum requires bags that have texture. While the vacuum sealer is doing its job, it's sucking out all the air, the texture is what allows that air to flow out, and then it can seal it down. But if you have no texture, it will not vacuum it out properly, and you won't have a good airtight seal on your food. So for suction vacuum sealers, you must have a bag with texture. For chamber vacuum sealers, you can use the bags with texture, or you can just use a regular bag. Chamber vacuums can go either way. All I'm going to do is take one of my back straps, throw it in the bag. The most important thing when it comes to choosing the right size bag is to make sure that you have at least 3 inches of headspace at the top of the bag. So we'll start with the chamber vacuum. This is the seal bar right here, this thing. So that's where you want to make sure there's no liquid, nothing obstructing. So that looks good. We'll close that down, and then I'll press auto vac and seal. Watch as the gauge goes up. It's creating a vacuum inside of there. The vacuum time is automatically set at 20, seal time 4, but you can adjust that based on what you're sealing. So right now, it doesn't look like much is happening, and it won't look like anything had happened until the chamber releases. Woo! Right there. That's how we know it's done. So we lift that up and we have a nice clean seal on the meat. So this just needs to be labeled and then it's good to go into the freezer. You can also put it into the refrigerator for up to 2 weeks. And now we'll move on to the suction vacuum sealer. So I am gonna go ahead and pat this dry one more time before putting it into the bag. And again, this is a textured bag because it's the suction vacuum sealer. This is the tray that will catch any liquid. So the tip of the bag's in there. There's nothing obstructing where the seal will be. So I'm going to close this guy down and then I'm going to press start and press down the lid until the vacuum engages. So start, press down. Now it's working on the seal. Awesome. That beep tells me it's done. Lift this up. There we have a gorgeous seal and a nice tight vacuum on the meat. Gorgeous. So now let's go over some general frequently asked questions that people have about vacuum sealers. Do generic vacuum sealer bags work? Yes and no. Generic vacuum sealer bags will work, but typically people have the best results with bags from the manufacturer in which you get your vacuum sealer from. Both of these vacuum sealers are by Avid Armor, and both of these bags are by Avid Armor as well. Where you really get yourself into trouble is with the textured bags. Most generic vacuum sealer bags don't have the same quality, texture, and design that the bags from the manufacturer do, and that can really create bad vacuums, bad seals, so that would create a bad experience. You see what I'm saying? So yes, you can use generic bags, but you'll have the best experience with bags from the manufacturer who creates your vacuum sealer. What else can you do with the vacuum sealer? You can marinate your food, you can create bags for sous vide, you can seal canisters, you can seal mason jars. There are a lot of things that you can do with vacuum sealers, and this video is just about meat in particular, but you can also vacuum seal other meats. I love to forage mushrooms, and I vacuum sealed a bunch of mushrooms that I foraged, and they helped those mushrooms stay good in my refrigerator for way longer. How much do vacuum sealers cost? Vacuum sealers range in price drastically. They can cost you anywhere from, say, $70 all the way up to $600 plus. And the higher in price you get, you start to get into more like commercial style vacuum sealers. I will put the price of these two on the screen now. I'll also include links to both of these models in the description box down below if you're interested in checking these ones out. But that is it for this video, my friends. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. But that is it. I will see you guys in the next one.